This is his first contest here in Athens, so let's join our commentators Lauren Burns and Peter Cahoon.
So combatants take the mat, and it's Australia's Daniel Trenton in the red, up against Craig Brown from Great Britain in the men's under 80 kilogram, and a lot of expectations, Lauren, on Daniel. You're very nervous.
Oh, I am. I'm so excited. Daniel is a silver medalist from Sydney 2000. He was fighting then in the men's heavyweight division, but he's dropped down now to the men's under 80 kilo class. So he's had to drop a lot of weight to get down here. But fortunately for him, all competitors weighed in a few days ago at the beginning of the entire tournament, which he would have had a couple of days to fully rehydrate and fuel up.
Well, eating lettuce leaves as well for the past few months is Craig Brown from Great Britain. He's been dieting to make the weight as well. So just in the opening stages of this 3-by-3 minute bout.
Great Britain, Craig Brown scoring a point there. Looked like it didn't quite hit to the protector, but it did make a pop.
So Daniel Trenton, 27 years of age. Craig Brown in the blue, 21 years of age, his first Olympics.
And Brown from Great Britain has actually beaten Daniel before in one of the qualification events, Olympic qualification event. So Trenton really is going to want to even up this score. He would have been studying Craig Brown, have all the video footage.
He does that, doesn't he? He gets video footage of all his combatants, because the thing to remember about Taekwondo is you never know who you're fighting until virtually the morning of the draw. The draws are done very, very late. It's an unseeded tournament, so you've got to be prepared for anything.
That's right. So you just have to really compile a lot of information of everybody in your weight division. But because there's so many tournaments run throughout the world, all the Opens, the World Championships every 2 years, World Cup every year, you know that you're going to fight everyone pretty much at some point. So it's good to keep a good library of all your competitors.
So Trenton from Australia in the red. Very even at the moment.
The referee giving a warning there to Daniel Trenton, just for holding in the clinch.
Now he took advantage of his opponent looking at his knee guard like that.
But the referee didn't stop it, you see, so...
Not falling for that old trick. Look at that on the ground.
Yeah.
Not falling for that for a minute. And Daniel Trenton, after the Sydney Olympics, who, as we've said, has come down a weight division here in Athens, decided that he wanted to try and avoid as many Koreans as he could.
Oh, beautiful kick there. Double kick by Daniel Trenton. You saw the first kick going to the flank and the second kick which scored. Flush on the protector there. It's a beautiful kick. And Daniel really has got the speed and the flair. Great, impeccable technique of a great competitor. And one of the things that really stead him in good stead at the Sydney Olympics in heavyweight was his speed against the bigger, tougher opponents. And you see here, he's loosening up,
so
feeling comfortable out there.
Trenton takes the break with a handy little 3-point lead. Again, the second round here in the men's under 80, the Australian Daniel Trenton in red holding a nice little lead against Craig Brown from Great Britain in blue. Craig Brown, a Londoner.
One of Daniel's strengths is his footwork on the mat. He's really fast. He moves in and out. He's got excellent footwork. And you can really see now, coming into this second round, he's loosened up. He got some points early on there in that first round.
Daniel going for a big axe kick there and trying to rack up some big points. So he's testing out his armoury in this opening round.
That's right, and to score a point, you need to kick full contact, legitimate kicks to the centre or the flank side of the chest guard, or you can kick directly to the head. And scores to the head, to the front of the head or the side, will rack up 2 points there.
So the Australians thus far in this tournament have had a fairly disappointing run. They've been very hardly marked, some of the Australians. They've been ropeable, the Australian camp. Here, Trenton doing well.
Some nice kicks there. Lovely double kicks from Trenton, but Brown from Great Britain scoring another roundhouse kick in that last flurry. So the score now sits at 6-5. Daniel Trenton from Australia leading.
As we've seen, these bouts can change literally in the blink of an eye.
Daniel's had a lot of injuries coming into this tournament.
Injuries, he's held together by pins and screws. He's had 2 ankle reconstructions and 3 shoulder reconstructions.
He has, and he's been training so hard. They've had a lot of training camps in Korea. He's been training with one of the featherweight Korean world champions, so he's been using the speed of a lighter competitor to lift his speed coming into this lighter weight division. The score now sits at Australia 9, Great Britain 6.
As we'd expect from the Londoner, he's going to try everything.
You can see Trenton really controlling the clinch. So as Brown from Great Britain comes in, Daniel's really moving, putting his arm in the way, putting his shoulder into the clinch, trying to deflect some of those kicks and really control the ring. Another warning there to Brown from Great Britain for holding in the clinch.
I would expect that from him.
So that puts him now with a 1 full point deduction.
So heading to the closing stages of this second round. Okay, so we go to the break with Daniel Trenton of Australia holding a healthy little lead here. 9-6 in this opening clash in the men's under 80 kilograms. So into the final minute now of this opening round clash between Daniel Trenton and Craig Brown.
Beautiful kicks there, and you can see just going 1 for 1. These guys aren't afraid to mix it up, and you can see the power in their kicks. Beautiful kick there by Daniel Trenton, just capitalising on Craig Brown, holding his leg up there just for too long.
Well, we can expect some fireworks from the Brit right now because he's got 30 seconds to try and dig this one out. Daniel Trenton will have to be careful. He's got enough just to stand off him, but he can't incur too many more warnings.
You can hear his coach, national and Olympic coach Jinte Jong, just saying move around, work the ring. It's very important to be able to control the fight.
Oh, he's not going to fall for this old trick, is he? What a sore shin.
Another warning there, putting Craig Brown from Great Britain with 2 full point deductions.
So things looking very, very good in the men's under 80 kilogram for Australia.
See the other Australian competitors there, very happy with that result.
Just going to confirm this result as the players go through this ancient ritual. Just wait for confirmation, and there it is. Daniel Trenton from Australia is safely through his opening round. Now,
and that will put Daniel Trenton straight into the quarterfinals later tonight. We're going to take a break. Men's football is up after this.
Karami now knowing he's got a good lead. A beautiful counter kick there. You can really see his power.
The trouble for the Australian now, as Lauren's pointing out, is that Trenton has to take the fight up, whereas the Iranian can afford to back off. Although he has incurred a few penalties, it'll be up for Trenton now to instigate the fight. As we've seen, the Iranian is so good at countering, that's fraught with danger in itself.
Trenton going for a head kick there. Kicks to the face are worth 2 points, so if he could get a few of those, that would certainly turn this game around. That left leg of Yosef Karami really is so strong. Nice point.
So if things start to get away, which they are now for the Australian, he will really have to try and start working the head. Really try and get himself nice and high, start working some aerial moves, try and pick up those high-scoring kicks to the head. We're heading towards the final minute now in this men's quarter-final. Iranian well in control.
Yousef Karami just sitting back there, waiting for Trenton to come in and countering with that left leg. It is just such a strong kick he's got there.
Iranian again being rewarded. So for Daniel Trenton, things now getting away from him. He learned to fight on the streets of Melbourne, and he's going to have to recall everything he's ever known, ever learned. He's got less than 30 seconds to try and pull this out.
You can see Karami, his experience there, just controlling the match in these final stages.
You can see now the Iranian just prepared to back off. He can incur another warning. He doesn't want to strike out 3 times. And perhaps it's the only way that Trenton's going to perhaps get the nod here. So the Iranian prepared to run up into the stands if necessary there and avoid Trenton. But in the end here, this has been a disappointing loss to the Australian. We'll just get it confirmed. So there we have it confirmed. Yousef Karami from Iran with a victory over Australia's Daniel Trenton. A disappointing loss to the Aussie, and he will now have to wait to see how far Karami progresses in the tournament to see whether he can back up in the repechage rounds and possibly fight for bronze.
Well, sadly, it was the end of the Olympics for Daniel Trenton. He didn't get through to the repechage. Plenty more for us, though, after the break. On Saturday night, The Who live from their first Australian concert. That's next. And to take us to the break, we know a lot of athletes will have armed guards in Athens. Our Olympic volunteer, Al, wants to handle security himself.
Since September the 11th particularly, we live in frightening, terrible times. And I think that my job as a volunteer, I have to adapt myself to this change.
I think it's wonderful. I think what Dad's doing is creating a new type of volunteer, the super volunteer.
You know, we've had feedback from the Sydney Olympics. We know what the volunteers did well there and, you know, what they didn't do as well. And I think that Al really has taken it to another level.
Al gave me a call and asked me to do an intensive training course. My role was to train them up to better help them protect the Olympians in the village.
My son, Sam.
Sam, Daniel.
Nice to meet you, Dan.
Yasu. Yasu, Michara.
What?
Michara.
Oh, of course. Very much so.
Okay, as you can see, you must remain focused all the time. Martial arts requires your total concentration, and you must be serious about the matter, okay? So you've got to respect what you're doing all the time.
Please. If you're going to say focus, then you yourself... I'll be the volunteer, Sam is the athlete, and you can play terror.
Hang on, you're right. You're all right, Daniel. What's wrong? Oh, mate, what's the matter? Oh,
my wrist.
Your wrist? What's happened to it? Let's have a look. Careful. Oh, sorry.
I was going for it, you know, all that stuff. You know, and obviously, oh, my wrist, let me go, let me go.
There you go, there you go. You're right, you're right. No.
I want to thank you anyway, because I think we learnt a lot from that.
It's great.
I've hurt my wrist and I don't know what's wrong with it.
You know, maybe I've, you know, ruined his chances of Athens.
Because that's what security's about. Only hurting people when you have to hurt them.
I think from now on people could call me Albert Bruce Lee Lewis. Hey?
I give 110%.